think we read it a month, 2 months ago.
2 months ago. No.
In preparation for this time.
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, there's going to be another one after this. The Rishon Kokoran is in. So I mean, I don't think we're going to read that again. Okay. In fact, most of you have never read it, frankly. In fact, has anyone ever actually read the Rishon Kokoran? Without telling me something that's not real.
Long time ago.
long time ago.
Long time.
It's so long. It's it's so profound. It's very difficult to read. You fall asleep after about.
I think that was
14 pages. You're just like, what the fuck? What? You know, we didn't start recording.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
So at any rate, we got that coming up too. And then, of course, the 20-page letter of Horan we've already read. So let's try and get after this then.
All right, ready?
Yeah. Hello, everybody. There's been a lot going on. There's been just a lot going on. We could not get together for 4 weeks, I think. Something happened every week as we've been trying to catch up with doing the Daimoku of the Lotus Sutra. So I'm going to get through the whole Daimoku of the Lotus Sutra, everything. Today we've already read the Gosho. If you go back 2 months, you'll see it. It's on the. It's already been read, and then the next Gosho has also already been read, and then we'll go see what comes after the Daimoku of the Lotus Sutra, letter to Horan. Right. So we've already read that, so we'll just do that next in 2 weeks. All right, and then come back and try and get in before we have to go to LA to try and get in. The next one after that, which is encouragement to a sick person. Okay? So here we go. We're going to start out with the Daimoku of the Lotus Sutra. I'm going to be drinking a lot of water because I don't know why my mouth is so dry, but I mean, I do know, but I'm going to choke. Okay. All right. Chapter 2, the Daimoku of the Lotus Sutra. Those who continue to chant Nam-myoho Renge-kyo lead lives of happiness, honor, and joy. Why would he put that as a subtitle to starting what we're about ready to study?
It is a key. It is the most important thing.
The most important thing is to realize that a ton of people start chanting and quit. Okay? A ton of people chant and never take it seriously enough to understand what it was they've been doing. Okay? So what this is saying is that if you continue, you will get there. Okay? So he's saying those who continue to chant Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, what's that say then? No. What's it say about them? What's it say about those that have continued? If you continue to chant Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, you must, that's faith.
Yeah.
That's all you're asked to do. That's the precept of the diamond chalice, right? It's nothing difficult. Those who continue have faith, and they ultimately lead lives of happiness, honor, and joy as a result of that endeavor. Okay, were you with me? Yeah. All right, going back to the Gosho then, we're only going to be reading small section of the total Gosho. This starts on page 17 of volume 7. Okay. Nam-myoho Renge-kyo. Question, is it possible without understanding the meaning of the Lotus Sutra, but merely by chanting the 5 or 7 characters of Nam-myoho Renge-kyo once a day, once a month, or simply once a year, once a decade, or once in a lifetime, to avoid being drawn into the trivial or serious acts of evil, to escape falling into the 4 evil paths, and instead to eventually reach the stage of non-regression? Now, what's the stage of non-regression? That's from the olden days. Again, one thing I should have said before we start. As the Daishonin makes clear in the letter to Misawa, he qualifies everything before Tatsunokuchi considered to be sort of like my, not theoretical, but my, not my essential teaching, okay? And then everything after Tatsunokuchi is my essential teaching. What is the difference between the teachings before and after Tatsunokuchi? The teachings before Tatsunokuchi are technically theoretical.
Yes.
Because the truth has not been revealed.
Right.
Okay? The truth is that Nam-myoho Renge-kyo comes from the life of Nichiren, and he's still doing Shakyamuni at this point in time. Because he has no choice but to. Because he can't just like start out with, you know, not basing it on anything but Nichiren's opinion.
Right.
No one's going to listen to him. Okay? So that's the whole point of these first few Goshos in volume 1. You know, that's why up until the letter to Musawa is really kind of like the cutoff point of when he's experienced something that he then knows, okay, now he's felt this stuff. He's felt it inside, but he hasn't felt the courage to express it specifically. And then ultimately he realizes, I have to. Because if everybody doesn't understand that they're equal to me, they'll continue to look at me in the same way they look at Shakyamuni.
Right.
Okay? And that's the whole point. You are equal to the Buddha. You are the Buddha. It's not a saying. It's not words. It's the truth.
Yes.
And you can hear it 1,000 times, and I can say it 1,000 different ways, and you still won't get it. Okay? So some people do, and some people don't. All right? And there's a reason for that. And it's 100% contained within the life of that each individual. You make the karma of whether or not you attain Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, and you also are the one that determines whether or not you've actually heard the name and the words of the truth, because you're the one that's going to keep encountering the law, and it's up to you to behave as such. So he says, can you get that just by chanting one Daimoku? Yes, that connects you to the eternal law. All right, that is hearing the names and the words of the truth, which is what that question was just saying. Okay, is it possible by one Daimoku? The stage of non-regression means you never go back, which I've explained. That's hearing the name and the words of the truth. You never go back then, right? That's non-regression, right? Yeah, answer, yes it is. Question, how great are the blessings contained? It skips now. Question, how great are the blessings contained within the 5 characters of Myoho Renge-kyo? Answer, the ocean contains all the numerous rivers that flow into it. The great earth contains all the sentient and insentient beings. The wish-granting jewel is capable of showering down innumerable treasures. And the heavenly king Brahme rules over all the threefold world. The 5 characters of Myoho Renge-kyo are comparable to these. They're comparable to the oceans, to the wish-granting jewel, to Brahme, okay? All the beings of the 9 worlds, as well as those in the world of Buddhahood, are contained within them. Are contained within them. That means they're inseparable, right? Okay. And since all living beings of the 10 worlds are contained within them, are inseparable, so are their environments inseparable. Okay, are you following what it's saying? Okay, coming now to the character Myo. The Lotus Sutra says, this sutra opens the gate of expedient means and shows the form of the true reality, The great teacher Chang'an states, Myo means to reveal the depths of the secret storehouse. The great teacher Myolo says of this, to reveal means to open. Hence, the character Myo means to open. Okay, and continuing, if there is a storehouse full of treasures but no key, then it cannot be opened. If it cannot be opened, then the treasure inside it cannot be seen. Okay, so what's he talking about there when he talks about Myo? Are we talking about Shakyamuni anymore?
No.
Not really. We're talking about the middle day of the law, Tentai, Dengyo, all those guys making all those clarifications that lead us to understand that the supreme teaching from Shakyamuni, left behind from Shakyamuni, was Myoho Renge-kyo. Okay, the Lotus Sutra. That's what Myoho Renge-kyo is, right? Okay, so And then obviously here he's saying, if there's a storehouse full of treasures, so if the treasure tower of Buddha wisdom is filled with the treasure of Buddha wisdom, but you can't get into it, what good is it?
Right.
He says, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, he doesn't say it, but he's saying Nam Myoho Renge Kyo is the key that has been needed all this time to unlock the treasure that was hidden in the depths of the lifespan chapter that could not be made available or clarified until the advent of the original teacher and until the appropriate time of the fifth 500-year period had occurred. Okay? So now, then he goes to Myo in the bottom of page 18. Myo in India is rendered as the Sanskrit word sat, and in China as, how do I pronounce that?
Myo.
Myo. Myo means to be fully endowed, which in turn has the meaning of perfect and full. Each word and each character of the Lotus Sutra contains within it all the 69,384 characters that compose the sutra. To illustrate, one drop of the great ocean contains within it the waters of all the various rivers that flow into the ocean. And a single wish-granting jewel, though no bigger than a mustard seed, is capable of showering down the treasures that one all the treasures that one could wish, pardon me, no bigger than mustard seed is capable of showering down the treasures that one could wish for with all the wish-granting jewels. Do you understand that? What he's saying there? He's saying one wish-granting jewel, if it can grant all your wishes, can grant as many as all the group wish-granting jewels that there could possibly be, because I all do the same thing, everything. They are all like Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. They're the essential nature of all things, okay? He's saying Myo means to revive. That is to return to life. Persons of the two vehicles, who are the persons of the two vehicles? No. Persons of the two vehicles. Ichkantikas and women were described in the sutras that preceded the Lotus Sutra as having scorched and killed the seeds that would have allowed them to become Buddhas. Who are the persons of the two vehicles? Voice hearers and cause awakened ones. Okay? So people that actually have an ability, but don't take it all the way. They don't aspire to take it all the way. All right? But by holding fast to this single character of Myo, they can revive these scorched seeds of Buddhahood. Okay? So there is no one. He just talked about women, evil people, people of incorrigible disbelief. There's no one that Myo doesn't open and refresh. Okay? Lecture on page 19. In July 1949, the Soka Gakkai began publishing the Daibyaku Renge as the monthly study journal to promote the understanding of Nichiren Buddhism and serve as a driving force for Kosen Rufu. So what is he saying just in that first paragraph? That study is the driving force for achieving Kosen Rufu. Okay? If you're not studying, if you don't understand this Buddhism, how can you progress?
Right.
Okay, and if you don't understand this Buddhism, how can you do so if you don't study what this Buddhism is? Right? You can't lead others if you can't lead yourself. So he says, my mentor, second Soka Gakkai President Josei Toda, contributed an editorial titled Religious Revolution and an article titled The Philosophy of Life. I was 21 at the time and helped proofread the journal. This was the first edition. Striving alongside my mentor, united in purpose to prepare that first issue. I remember it as clearly as if it were yesterday. Seeking to respond to the fervent call my mentor had made for Kosen Rufu in these writings, he's talking about President Toda, I contributed a poem titled Hopes for Youth to the second issue. And here it is. Youth, I will dedicate my life to the great philosophy of Nichiren Daishonin, which clarifies the essence of life and reveals the fundamental law of the universe. Kosen Rufu is the path to lasting peace. May the wise know this, and may those who love humanity work to that end. Youth, open your eyes. For youth, have the passion and power to advance as champions of this great philosophy. Now, isn't that interesting that that was in the second edition of the Daibyaku Renge when Daisaku Ikeda was just a sidekick helping out Josei Toda? But by virtue of him having faith and confidence in his mentor's teaching and it being absolutely a sense of mission of his life, that he accomplished his goals, his mentor's goals, that this poem actually manifested as reality. Let me read the poem again, just the end of it, where he says, youth, open your eyes. This is a young Daisaku Ikeda, okay? In what is this? He said 1949. So he would have just started practicing a year or two. This is a very young Daisaku Ikeda. Josei Toda has just been out of prison for a few years, okay? For youth have the passion and power to advance as champions of this great philosophy. By making that statement in the second edition of the Daibyaku Renge, frankly, Daisaku Ikeda qualified that truth himself through his own actions, through his own poem. Yes. Okay? Because there are people that caught that fire and followed him and followed anybody else that had caught that fire. And that's what we have to try and do. All right? It continues. I expressed my determination that we, the youth, would play the leading role in the Soka Gakkai's effort to spread the great philosophy of Nichiren Buddhism, which has the power to illuminate all humanity. So when he's talking about this, is he talking about a goal for Japan? No, from the get-go, it's Kosen Rufu world peace. From the get-go, it's everywhere. It's everything. All right? He says, the white lotus, a symbol of boundless compassion and wisdom. So the Soka Gakkai's focus has been from the very beginning, everything. Now, Mr. Makaguchi didn't talk about the whole world, but President Toda alluded to it. But again, they were a bunch of ragtag nobodies. It would have sounded pretty outrageous for them to say, we're gonna do all this stuff. But little by little, people are they make their own determinations. This poem from Daisaku Ikeda isn't from Toda. It's from somebody that learned from Toda, that gathered the same spirit as the mentor. That's the whole point here. He's letting you see this stuff really does happen. We can really do Kosen Rufu. The white lotus, a symbol of boundless compassion and wisdom. Today, translations of Daibyaku Renge articles are read, articles. Today, translations of Daibyaku Renge articles are read and praised by thinkers around the world. Sister study journals are also published by our SGI organizations in different countries and are read and enjoyed by many people. Kosen Rufu is advancing vigorously in tandem with these publications in each country, delivering a message of courage and hope to members and non-members alike. And so, what is that again saying? That this process of study, thanks to the beginning of the Daibyaku Renge and the foundation of the Soka Gakkai, has been the basis of the way it's been, the Soka philosophy has been conveyed throughout the world. He says, the Byaku Renge, second to last paragraph, first column, page 20. White Lotus, in the title of the Daibyaku Renge, Great White Lotus, is the lotus of the Lotus Sutra, or Myoho Rengekyo, a symbol of a genuine Buddha, who embodies the mystic law of universal enlightenment and brims with boundless compassion and wisdom. That's anybody functioning as the Buddha in their daily life. He says the mystic law is a teaching that awakens us, doesn't create a truth, okay? Doesn't teach us a new truth, right. Awakens us. That means it's already there, right. Okay? The mystic law is a teaching that awakens us to the truth that all living beings are Buddhas. So this isn't happy talk. Okay? If we don't consider ourselves Buddhas, how can we consider others Buddhas? Right. Frankly. All right? As such, it is the path to absolute happiness throughout the three existences of past, present, and future. Nothing surpasses the mystic law, because everything that I just said is all encompassed in Nam-myoho Renge-kyo. He says the title Daibyaku Renge, Great White Lotus, expresses the commitment or vow to teach the mystic law and communicate its ultimate truth to all people, which is why I was just talking about everything I say. Okay? That is your responsibility. That's the only way you can truly show gratitude. You think by putting apples or fruit in front of the Butsudan, that's showing gratitude? No, that's showing respect. Gratitude is to embrace your mission for Kosen Rufu because you know you have one. That means you consider yourself a bodhisattva of the earth. Are you with me? All right. The title Daibyaku Renge, Great White Lotus, expresses the commitment or vow to teach the mystic law and communicate its ultimate truth to all people. And what are you going to have to do that? You're going to have to attain Buddhahood in your present form, and that means you're going to have to overcome lots of opposition, lots of difficulty. That should not be something that you begrudge the reality of as it relates to you being a bodhisattva of the earth with a responsibility, having taken a vow for Kosen Rufu. Do you follow what I'm saying? Because it won't get easier. It's going to get more challenging. All right? Because as you grow older, when you're in first grade, do you learn the same thing that you do as a college senior? No, because of all the growth that's happened in between. So of course it's going to get more difficult and complex. And so he's saying you've got to teach the mystic law. All right? If you're going to teach the mystic law, you're not going to just tell somebody about the mystic law. Telling somebody is tell them about Nam-myoho Renge-kyo. But can you teach them what it actually is? Can you help them understand it's not outside of themselves? That even though it came from Nichiren Daishonin in Japan, it's the essential nature that was the predication of them actually making their manifest advent in this life. He says, Soka Gakkai members in the pioneering days of our movement used to carry copies of the Daibyaku Renge with them as they went out to encourage members and share Nichiren Buddhism with others. They would utilize those as like reference guides. No matter what trials or difficulties we face when we embrace the hope-filled philosophy of Nichiren Buddhism and always forge ahead chanting Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, our lives shine brightly. When we chant Nam-myoho Renge-kyo ourselves and teach others to do the same, thereby accumulating treasures of the heart, we can proceed along the path of happiness and victory throughout eternity. The Daishonin repeatedly assures us of this. In the Daimoku of the Lotus Sutra, the writing I will discuss in this chapter, Nichiren Daishonin explains to a female disciple the philosophy of the mystic law, which is a source of hope and courage, and shows her the direct path to happiness. Let us study together the great beneficial power of the mystic law. Continuing on page 21 at the very top. Pardon me. Chanting Nam-myoho Renge-kyo even once has immeasurable benefit. From the Gosho. Nam-myoho Renge-kyo. Question, is it possible without understanding the meaning of the Lotus Sutra by merely chanting the 5 or 7 characters of Nam-myoho Renge-kyo once a day, once a month, or simply once a year, once a decade, or once in a lifetime to avoid being drawn into trivial or serious acts of evil, to escape falling into the 4 evil paths, and instead to eventually reach the stage of non-regression? Answer, yes it is. The lecture continues. What kind of power do the 7 characters of Nam-myoho Renge-kyo contain? The Daishonin starts this letter by asking, is there really any benefit in chanting Nam-myoho Renge-kyo even just once without understanding its meaning? And then goes on to clearly outline the enormous power of the Daimoku of the Lotus Sutra, Nam-myoho Renge-kyo. He wrote it in January 1266. The recipient, though unknown, appears from the letter's content to have been a woman who had formerly believed in the Pure Land Nimbutsu teachings and was relatively new in faith to Nichiren Buddhism. From the very beginning, Nichiren Daishonin asserts that the benefit of chanting Nam-myoho Renge-kyo is immense beyond measure. Okay? So what is that saying there just in that sentence, though? Where is the predication of what we're being asked to believe? We're being asked to believe in Nichiren's teaching because Nichiren's the one that said that there's immeasurable power. Okay? This is not something that somebody other than him has made up in between. Okay? Right. So he says, he affirms that it is indeed possible by merely chanting the 5 or 7 characters of Nam-myoho Renge-kyo once a day, once a month, or simply once a year, once a decade, or once in a lifetime, to avoid being drawn into trivial or serious acts of evil, to escape falling into the 4 paths, and instead to eventually reach the stage of non-regression. Because the mystic law has the vast and limitless power of the Buddha and the power of the law, 2 of the 4 powers, and if you go to point 12, you'll read it all, it can transform any kind of negative karma. So what is it doing? It's not eradicating the negative karma, it's transforming it from a diluted state into an enlightened state. And that's how it's expressed by your life, because your life is what makes it your life has to have transformed for the karma to have transformed, right? It doesn't come for no reason. It comes because of your sincere faith in chanting Daimoku. He says, as the Daishonin writes elsewhere, Nam-myoho Renge-kyo is like the roar of a lion. A lion's single roar silences all the other beasts. The power of a great good arising from even a single recitation of Daimoku can vanquish all forms of evil. The power of great good arising from a single recitation of Daimoku can vanquish all forms of evil. The Daishonin also writes, only the 7 characters of Nam-myoho Renge-kyo are the seed for attaining Buddhahood. A single seed can sprout into a seedling, grow many leaves, and produce abundant flowers and fruit. And of course, the fruits all bear seeds themselves, right? Or the flowers as well. Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, the seed of Buddhahood, contains the causes of all of the innumerable practices that lead to enlightenment and the effects of all the superlative good fortune and benefit to be gained upon it attaining enlightenment. That's why if we just plant that seed in the field of our hearts a single time, we are guaranteed to be able to realize the same life state as the Buddha. All right? The woman to whom Nichiren addressed this letter must have been deeply assured, top of page 22, first column, by the Daishonin statement that chanting Nam-myoho Renge-kyo even once enables one to enter the way to attaining Buddhahood. It must have strengthened her faith and enabled her to chant Daimoku even more joyfully. Continuing. The heart of all the teachings of Buddhism and the eye of all the Buddhas. Continuing on page 22, first column. Next to emphasize the extraordinary power of the mystic law, the Daishonin writes, if you play a koto strung with lion's sinews, then all other kinds of strings will snap. And if you so much as hear the words pickled plum, your mouth will begin to water. Even in everyday life, there are such wonders. How much greater are the wonders of the Lotus Sutra? With regard to the mystic law, benefit means wiping out evil and bringing about good. Okay? And we think of benefit a lot of times in a completely different way. And he gives a point of reference from the orally transmitted teachings here. And I'm going to pause and I'm going to actually read it to you. Page 148. It actually begins on point 1 on 147. What he's referencing here is continuing of this. This is point 1, the chapter 19, benefits of the teacher of the law, 4 important points. And we talked about this the last time we were together. Point 1, regarding the benefits of the teacher of the law, the record of the orally transmitted teaching says the words teacher of the law mean the teacher of the law who carries out the 5 practices. The word benefits, kudoku, means a reward that is represented by the purification of the 6 sense organs, which we can't attain Buddhahood unless we've done. All right? And we can only really, we got to go through all kinds of crazy stuff to do it unless we're doing it through the Daimoku of Nam-myoho Renge-kyo. He says, okay, so in general, we may say now that Nichiren and his followers who chant Nam-myoho Renge-kyo are carrying out the purification of the 6 sense organs. Hence, they are acting as teachers of the law. Hence, they are acting as teachers of the law of Myoho Renge-kyo and possess great virtue, toku. The element ku in the word kudoku means good fortune or happiness. It also refers to the merit achieved by wiping out evil, while the element toku or doku refers to the virtue one acquires by bringing about good. Thus, the word kudoku means to attain Buddhahood in one's present form. It also means the purification of the 6 sense organs. So it doesn't just mean benefit. What it means is the real benefit, which allows all the other benefits. It's the foundation for why that we call kudoku benefit. That's not at this most profound explanation, and of course that's why that I've shown is qualifying it now in the OTT, because this is the most correct understanding. Thus, the word kudoku means to attain Buddhahood in one's present form. It also means the purification of the 6 sense organs. You should understand that to practice the Lotus Sutra, as the sutra itself directs, is to carry out purification of the 6 sense organs. All right, so where was I? Where was it that where is that point?
With regard to the...
Okay, yeah, he says, with regard to the mystic law, benefit means wiping out evil and bringing about good, okay? The Daimoku of the Lotus Sutra, Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, eradicates the fundamental evil inherent in life and gives rise to fundamental good. It breaks through fundamental ignorance and opens up the bright wisdom of enlightenment. It actually, again, transforms it from one thing, from delusion into enlightenment. That's why by chanting Daimoku, we can eliminate all forms of evil karma in an instant and manifest immeasurably good fortune and benefit. By chanting, because again, don't forget that when we meet the 3 obstacles and the 4 devils, that is not bad karma.
Right.
Okay? When we're going through what we're going through, like I am today, this is not bad karma. This is a challenge to me, personally. All right? I must win in that challenge. We all must win when we meet that challenge. That challenge will reoccur. It's not bad karma. Okay? So, by chanting Nam-myoho Renge-kyo a single time, we ordinary, unenlightened beings plagued by problems, doubts, and suffering, so we don't have to be all perfect and have our shit together and be on top of the world, can positively transform our circumstances in accord with the principle of changing poison into medicine. That's what we're doing. And attain a state of life fulfilled with hope, courage, and peace of mind. Because you're not worried about whether or not this is true.
Right.
Okay?
Absolutely.
To ordinary people, this is truly an astonishing and unfathomable teaching. That's why it's the most difficult to believe and difficult to understand. And it says so right up front. Okay? And because it is the wondrous and mysterious law to which the Buddha became enlightened, it is called the mystic law because you cannot fathom it. The Daishonin declares that Daimoku of the Lotus Sutra is the very heart of all the 80,000 sacred teachings of Buddhism and the eye of all the Buddhas. The very heart of all the 80,000 sacred teachings of Buddhism means the essence of all the Buddha's lifetime teachings and doctrines, the most important part. In other words, all of the sutras from Shakyamuni. The zenith of Buddhism is the mystic law that enables ordinary people to attain Buddhahood. The zenith of Buddhism. What does zenith mean? The highest point can't get no higher. Can't get no higher. Zenith is as high as it can go. Okay? The zenith of Buddhism is Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. That enables ordinary people to transform into Buddhas exactly as they are. That's what that sentence just said. All right? The eye of all Buddhas means that all Buddhas attain enlightenment through awakening to this law. There aren't some Buddhas that attain some Buddhahood some other way. Original Buddhahood is only attained by being aware, becoming aware, learning the understanding of the original state. And the original state is Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. That's the whole point. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo precedes all of Shakyamuni's teachings. The eye of all the Buddhas means that all Buddhas attain enlightenment through awakening to this law. In other words, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo is the one fundamental law. The one fundamental law. What does fundamental law mean? It's the basic building block by which it's in the elemental hydrogen.
Elements.
It's hydrogen, right? Am I wrong? Hydrogen is the first of the elements, right? It's a single molecule, right? Okay, it's hydrogen. It's the building block of everything else. Okay, that pervades all phenomena. Faith is the foundation for chanting Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. Thank you, dear. Thank you so much. What is the key to unlock this immense benefit innate in life? Okay, what does that first sentence say? God, again. What is the key to unlock this immense benefit innate in life? So what does that qualify immediately? What did we just say all this stuff about Myo for?
Open.
Huh?
Open.
Right, and it's already there. It's innate. Innate, the way that the key that unlocks the treasure tower. That's all talking about the same thing. Okay? If you don't have a key, treasure tower is worthless. If you don't have Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Buddhahood does not exist in any other aspect other than theoretically.
Right.
Okay? So he says, that's why, pardon me, faith is the foundation for, where am I?
What's
Second.
the key? What's the key?
Okay, what is the key to unlock this immense benefit innate in life? In other words, again, it's already there. It is none other than faith. That's the key that unlocks the treasure tower, that unlocks the treasure storehouse. To stress its importance, the Daishonin goes on to compare those who have knowledge but are without faith. So that means you can. You can understand stuff but not really believe really what it is saying.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You think you'll get to a different place where you'll finally understand that real meaning, rather than taking what the words say as the real meaning. All right? The Daishonin goes on to compare those who have knowledge but are without faith, which there are many, and those who lack knowledge but have faith, which there are many. Knowledge here refers to understanding the Buddhist teachings and doctrines. Knowledge here refers to understanding the Buddhist teachings and doctrines. The Daishonin goes on to compare those who have knowledge but are without faith and those who lack knowledge but have faith. Knowledge here refers to understanding the Buddhist teachings and doctrines. All right? So, for us to understand, we have to study, right? But is study the key? No, it's faith in what we're learning. It's faith in what we're learning. Of course, the best thing at top of page 23, first column. Of course, the best thing is to have both faith, both knowledge and faith. But the wisdom of the Buddha is infinitely profound and immeasurable, and it is impossible for ordinary people with their own limited wisdom to fully comprehend the supreme law, the very heart of the Buddha's teachings. That's why I keep saying it's in the region of the infathomable, dudes. It's like the original state, you know. You can understand it, but you can't understand it. Simile and parable, the Lotus Sutra's 3rd chapter says, with regard to attaining the Buddha way, that we can gain entrance through faith alone. Because if it's based on understanding, it's based on whether we have this superior intellect or something. It's not for everybody. But faith is something that has nothing to do with what your IQ is.
Right.
Okay? Or what your formal level of education is. Okay? You believing the teacher and becoming one with the mentor. That's the whole basis of becoming a Buddha.
Yes.
In other words, even Shariputra, Shakyamuni's disciple known as foremost in wisdom, ultimately grasped the mystic truth of the Lotus Sutra, not through his own understanding or wisdom, but through faith in the Buddha's vast and boundless teaching. Faith alone is the key to attaining the Buddha way. The Gohonzon is described as being a cluster of blessings, the key to drawing forth the inexhaustible benefit of the Gohonzon is our own strong faith. In this letter, the Daishonin writes, thus, faith is the basic requirement for entering the way of the Buddha. Through our earnest, consistent efforts to chant Daimoku, we gain infinite benefit. Chanting also brings forth a powerful surge of life force and courage. And what he's really saying there is that if you think faith is just this highest level of belief, but you're not chanting, because you don't really need to, because you already believe it. That isn't it. If you believe it, then you must do it. Right? Okay? Through our earnest, consistent efforts to chant Daimoku, through our earnest, consistent efforts. What does that mean? What's earnest mean? Through our earnest efforts. It means we're doing the best we can. Okay? It means it's not, we don't have to be in our A game, because karma's not that way. Each day is a whole different day.
Right.
It's not reasonable, and the teaching's not predicated on that. Okay? That's why we don't go like this to the priesthood. They're not any different than us. We're all human beings. So earnest is your sincere desire to do the best you can. Consistent is what? Not every once in a while, to the best of your ability, as much as you possibly can.
Yeah.
To the best of your ability. That's why he was just qualifying. Knowledge without faith, faith without knowledge. Okay? Through our earnest and consistent efforts to chant Daimoku. What is that? That's faith. Okay? We gain infinite benefit. Chanting also brings forth a powerful surge of life force and courage, which we need to be able to chant that Daimoku. As the Daishonin says, regard both suffering and joy as facts of life and continue chanting Nam-myoho Renge-kyo no matter what happens. When you are suffering, chant. When you are stuck, chant. Mr. Toda often gave the following guidance. Top of page 23, first full paragraph, I guess. A strong prayer to the Gohonzon is certain to be realized. There are 3 conditions, however. What are the 3 conditions without looking? Daimoku, Daimoku, Daimoku is the answer. Okay? Of course, we could say faith, practice, and study, but Daimoku, Daimoku, Daimoku should be leading you to all that anyhow. All right? What he's saying is you got to get your life condition up. Daimoku is the most important thing. You can't read and study and know anything if you didn't base it on Daimoku to the Gohonzon in the first place. If you're just reading to be an academic, a brainiac, oh, you'll understand some shit, but you won't understand what he's really saying. Okay? So he's saying the power of Daimoku is colossal. It can transform a life imbued with painful karma into one that is like strolling in a beautiful garden, or like a pleasant dream. If you chant Daimoku with wholehearted determination, you will definitely realize benefit. These are all things that President Toda encouraged people with by saying. He said, when you chant in earnest, stray thoughts will fade away and you'll be able to concentrate on succeeding in your efforts for Kosen Rufu. And then finally, firmly resolve not to let yourself be defeated. Fight on, chanting and chanting Daimoku. The most important thing is Daimoku. It is prayer. Mr. Toda taught us that the unerring path of dedicating our lives to Kosen Rufu and becoming happy. Mr. Toda taught us the unerring path of dedicating our lives to Kosen Rufu and becoming happy. Continuing on page 24. Faith directly connected to Nichiren Daishonin exists within the SGI. Members infuse their prayer with a vow for the realization of Kosen Rufu. We are chanting the Daimoku of the Lotus Sutra, the very heart of all the teachings of Buddhism and the eye of all the Buddhists, with unsurpassed faith. Consequently, there is not the slightest doubt that we can overcome all forms of karma and attain a lofty state of life, as if soaring freely through the sky of tranquil light. Continuing page 24, the mystic law contains all the benefits of the universe. From the Gosho, question, how great are the blessings or benefits contained within the 5 characters of Myoho Renge-kyo? Answer, the great ocean contains all the numerous rivers that flow into it. The great earth contains all sentient and insentient beings. The wish-granting jewel is capable of showering down innumerable treasures, and the heavenly king Brahme rules over all the threefold world. The 5 characters of Myoho Renge-kyo are comparable to these. All beings of the 9 worlds, as well as those in the world of Buddhahood, are contained within them. And since all beings of the 10 worlds are contained within them, so are their environments. Continuing second column, page 24. From this passage on, the Daishonin explains the infinite nature of the benefits of the mystic law. He begins by posing the question, how great are the blessings contained within the 5 characters of Myoho Renge-kyo? He answers that they contain all the living beings of the 9 worlds and the world of Buddhahood, as well as the environments of all those beings. Just as the great ocean contains all the numerous rivers that flow into it, he says, the single teaching of Nam-myoho Renge-kyo contains all the living beings of the 10 worlds and their environments. That is, all phenomena. So he's talking about everything when he's saying these things. Likewise, when one possesses the possesses the wish-granting jewel that has the power to produce as many treasures as one desires, then one can indeed possess all the treasures of the universe. The Daishonin uses this as an analogy for the immeasurable benefits we can tap and reveal in our lives through the power of Nam-myoho Renge-kyo. The Daimoku of the mystic law fully contains the benefits, all the benefits of the universe. To put it another way, the mystic law does not exist apart from us. We should not look for it outside ourselves. Each of our lives is originally and inherently an entity of the mystic law. Chanting Daimoku is the practice for drawing out the power that we already possess within us. Everybody understood all that, right? Declaring that we are not truly practicing the correct teaching of Buddhism if we seek outside of ourselves the fundamental cause for attaining enlightenment, that Daishonin sternly warns. Let me say that preface again so you understand. It's real clear. Declaring that we are not truly practicing the correct teaching of Buddhism. The Daishonin is going to say that. If we seek outside ourselves, like he did to letter to not Sairenbo, the guy from Sato Island. That is Sairenbo, maybe. I don't know. At any rate, declaring that we are not truly practicing the correct teaching of Buddhism if we seek outside of ourselves the fundamental cause for attaining enlightenment. The Daishonin sternly warns, if you think the law is outside yourself, you are embracing not the mystic law, but an inferior teaching. So it's not something that can be done academically. Mr. Toda used to say, chanting Daimoku cultivates the state of Buddhahood. Do you emphasize, can you see how much he's talked about the necessity of study, but at the same time, he's qualified over and over and over again, it's about chanting. Okay? Chanting precedes study. Study without chanting isn't really study. Mental masturbation. Mr. Toda used to say chanting Daimoku cultivates the state of Buddhahood, and faith means us ourselves having the most powerful conviction. I would talk about our faith. When we chant Daimoku with the firm belief that the heavenly deities will definitely protect us because we are entities of the mystic law, then that is precisely what will happen. As the Daishonin puts it in this letter, the 5 characters Myoho Rengekyo contain within them all teachings. As such, the essence of Buddhism is the conviction that our lives are entities of the mystic law, and then to manifest the benefits of the mystic law that reside within us and enjoy them. I'll read that paragraph again. It's really important. As the Daishonin puts it in this letter, here's the formula. The 5 characters Myoho Rengekyo contain within them all the teachings. So if you want to know all the teachings, Nam-myoho Rengekyo is as far as you got to go to get started. As such, the essence of Buddhism is the conviction. So what is he saying? The essence of Buddhism, let me read this and then reread it the way I read it. As such, the essence of Buddhism is the conviction that our lives are entities of the mystic law, and then to manifest the benefits of the mystic law that reside within us and enjoy them. I read that as saying, as such, the essence of Buddhism is the faith and conviction in the Daishonin's teachings that I too am the Buddha, and that I live my life as an entity of the mystic law, and that I therefore have the ability to manifest the power and the benefit of the mystic law. And I do that for the sake of myself and also to prove that power to help others attain Buddhahood themselves. All right? Myo means to open. Bottom of page 25. Coming now to the character Myo, wonderful or mystic, the Lotus Sutra says, this sutra opens the gate of expedient means and shows the form of true reality. The great teacher Chang'an states Myo means to reveal the depths of the secret storehouse. He's talking about realizing your own Buddha nature. The great teacher Myolo says of this, to reveal means to open. Hence, the character Myo means to open. If there is a storehouse full of treasures but no key, then it cannot be opened. And if it cannot be opened, then the treasures inside cannot be seen. Continuing page 25, second column. Next in this letter, the Daishonin discusses the profound significance of the character Myo, specifically explaining the 3 meanings of Myo, namely, to open, to be fully endowed, and to revive. First, the Daishonin says the character Myo means to open. The Lotus Sutra is the sole scripture that opens the way for the enlightenment of all living beings, which is the ultimate purpose of Buddhism. So the ultimate purpose of Buddhism is for everybody equally to be able to attain the same state. Okay? The Lotus Sutra is the sole scripture that will allow that to happen because it contains Nam-myoho Rengekyo, because only Nam-myoho Rengekyo will allow that to happen. Okay? The ultimate purpose of Buddhism is for Nam-myoho Rengekyo to be spread throughout the world. In reality. That's Kosen Rufu. Continuing. The mystic law has the power to open the treasure storehouse that resides within all human beings. That is the world of Buddhahood, latent within the reality of the 9 worlds, and to invigorate their lives. In the various sutras taught before the Lotus Sutra, the storehouse containing the treasure of the mystic law, the essence of the Buddha's supreme enlightenment, remains closed. Only is it opened in the 16th chapter of the Lotus Sutra. The storehouse may be visible, but no one has yet seen the treasure inside. Do you understand? Do you understand the analogies that are being made here? Are you clear on what he's saying? I need some acknowledgement. Yeah? No? No. Okay, let me go backwards then. First, I'm going to go back to first. All right? First, the Daishonin says the character Myo means to open. The Lotus Sutra is the only place you can find this opener for the enlightenment of all living beings, is what he's saying, which is the ultimate purpose of Buddhism. Right. Everybody become equal to the Buddha himself. Right. All right? He says the mystic power has the power to open the treasure storehouse that resides within all human beings. What's inside that treasure storehouse? all the causes and benefits that have ever been, that create Buddhahood, that have ever been utilized for the sake of progressing the law. Oh, that's okay. All right. So don't forget, the storehouse doesn't just have some treasure that's not associated with you. The storehouse has all Buddhas share in the same treasure. It's called Buddhahood. It's infinite. There's not like a stack of gold here and a stack of $100 bills here. It's not that kind of treasure. It's infinite wisdom. All right? The mystic law has the power to open the treasure storehouse that resides within all human beings, which is to realize that you are the Buddha, because then there is no treasure you cannot have. That is the wish-granting jewel. Buddhahood is the wish-granting jewel. Do you get it? Nam-myoho Renge-kyo is the wish-granting jewel. All you got to do is get there. It's already there. It's not something you acquire. It's not something somebody gives you or something that somebody teaches you. It's something that you reveal. You already have the teaching within you. The storehouse is filled with that teaching. You got no key unlocking it so everybody else can see it. Get it? All right. The mystic law has the power to open the treasure storehouse that resides within all human beings. That is the world of Buddhahood, latent within the reality of the 9 worlds, and to invigorate their lives. In the various sutras taught before the Lotus Sutra, the storehouse containing the treasure tower of the mystic law, the essence of the Buddha's supreme enlightenment remains closed. Do you understand that, right? That's through the through the flower garland and the agama and the wisdom and the correct and equal and so forth and so on, until we get to the perfect teaching of, hi, hon. All right. The storehouse may be visible. In other words, you can see the sutras, but you can't understand their essence, because the essence is Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, and it can't be revealed until the 5th 500-year period. Do you understand what I'm trying? Okay. But with the teaching of the Lotus Sutra, which elucidates the principle of universal enlightenment, because that's the first time he says women, evil people, incorrigible and disbelief people, everybody can attain Buddhahood. They're going to attain Buddhahood. Not just can, they're going to. The storehouse of all the earlier scriptures is open for the first time, because for the first time it's being said by the teacher Shakyamuni that this has always been the way it's been forever. I didn't just figure all this out under the Bodhi tree. Revealing the treasures of the treasure of the mystic law, the ultimate teaching that Shakyamuni wished to convey. In this section, the Daishonin, that wished to convey, top of page 26. In this section, good. In this section, the Daishonin highlights the most essential aim of Buddhism. The various other sutras detail the Buddha's lofty character and the vastness of his enlightenment, but unless all people can access these teachings, they are of no benefit. They are of no benefit. But unless all people can access these teachings, they are of no benefit. Why? Sorry. They're of no benefit. I'll say it again. In this section, the Daishonin highlights the most essential aim of Buddhism. The various other sutras detail the Buddha's lofty character and vastness of his enlightenment, but unless all people can access those teachings, they are of no benefit.
Because they don't have the key to realize that they are Bodhisattvas.
Yes, but moreover, none of those previous teachings even allow for women, evil people. So again, unless all people, and that's the key. But unless all people can access those teachings, then it's not the correct ultimate teaching. Okay, the thing that makes it the correct ultimate teaching is the fact that it can help evil people. It can do it for anybody, and it's not predicated on intellect. It's not based on anything other than faith. How cool.
Right.
How completely reasonable and accessible to all.
Right.
All right? The true value of Buddhism can be demonstrated only if we can transform our lives. We can't demonstrate this is the truth unless we become Buddhas.
Right.
All right? And manifest in the course of our everyday reality the same supremely noble life state as the Buddha. Does that mean 24/7? Not necessary. Do you think that the Buddha was 24/7? Was he a human being? Then he was not 24/7. Okay? The 10 worlds are the 10 worlds are the 10 worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No life exists without the 10 worlds, not the one world.
Right.
Okay? Adherents of the established Buddhist schools of the Daishonin's day place their faith in a great Buddha, a perfect Buddha, an extraterrestrial Buddha that existed outside themselves, passively relying on that Buddha to bestow benefits upon them. The popular Nimbutsu practice of chanting the name of Amida Buddha epitomized that approach. In contrast, chanting the Daimoku of the Lotus Sutra, Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, is the practice that enables us to manifest the power of the mystic law inherent within our own lives, power as vast as the universe itself, and open the boundless life state of Buddhahood. Because what's the difference between delusion and enlightenment? Delusion is deluded and enlightenment is not. Enlightenment perceives the truth that you are the Buddha. In the absence of that, it's delusion.
Right.
Okay? That's all this is saying over and over and over again.
Right.
In his editorial in the first issue of the Daibyaku Renge entitled Religious Revolution, which I mentioned earlier, Mr. Toda wrote, "Religion is a principle for living and must exist within our daily lives. If one were to ask young people or intellectuals today what the difference between Nam-myoho Renge-kyo and the Nimbutsu chant of Namu Amida Butsu is, how many could answer? Really, probably very, very, very few. No one. That shows just how little the public is interested in Buddhism and how irrelevant Buddhism has become in the daily life of the public. Genuine Buddhist philosophy revitalizes society. Nichiren Daishonin established a genuine Buddhism of the people because it says they're all Buddhists. If they can just chant Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, that's the key to unlocking the storehouse. The treasure house, the essence of which is the Daimoku of the mystic law, Nam-myoho Renge-kyo. Genuine Buddhist philosophy revitalizes society. Nichiren Daishonin established a genuine Buddhism of the people, the essence of which is the Daimoku of the mystic law, Nam-myoho Renge-kyo. Nichiren Buddhism enables us to change ourselves and our circumstances. We bring forth our inherent Buddha nature and carry out our human revolution. We chant vigorous Daimoku day after day, accumulate experiences of the power of our Buddhist practice, share the joy of faith with others, and thereby expand our network dedicated to the cause of good. Our lively grassroots Buddhist movement of awakened individuals will lay the foundation for the creation of a culture of respect for life and human dignity, as well as for vibrant social development and world peace. Continue on page 26, second column. At the bottom, Myo means fully endowed. From the Gosho, Myo, wonderful or mystic in India, is rendered as the Sanskrit word sad, and in China is Miao.
Yeah.
Meow, like kitty almost.
Yeah.
Meow. Meow. Okay. I wasn't sure if I was pronouncing, how I was supposed to pronounce it. Like, I want to pronounce it in the Japanese, Mieo, or something like, okay. Meow.
Yeah.
Meow. Myo means to be fully endowed, which in turn has the meaning of perfect and full. Each word and each character of the Lotus Sutra contains within it all the 69,384 characters that compose the sutra. To illustrate, one drop of the great ocean contains within it the waters of all the various rivers that flow into the ocean, and a single wish-granting jewel, though no bigger than a mustard seed, is capable of showering down the treasures that one could wish for with all the wish-granting jewels. Next, the Daishonin writes Myo, continuing page 27, first column. Next, the Daishonin writes Myo means to be fully endowed, which in turn has the meaning of perfect and full. As I touched on earlier, the Daimoku of the Lotus Sutra is the one fundamental law which encompasses all benefits. With regard to being fully endowed, the Daishonin offers two analogies. One drop of the great ocean contains within it the waters of all the various rivers that flow into the ocean, and plants and trees are withered and bare in autumn and winter, but when the sun of spring and summer shines on them, they put forth branches and leaves and then flowers and fruit. In a like manner, the single character Myo contains within it all the teachings and all benefits. That's my point. Contains all teachings and all benefits. The benefits are already there. Okay, they don't have to be accessed, which manifest in response to causes and conditions. They don't rain down unrealistically like a heaven. In response, they manifest in response to causes and conditions. Now, what are causes and conditions if that's what they manifest in response to? What is he talking about? He's going to go on and say all the benefits of the Lotus Sutra without exception are included and inherent within the single character of Myo, but then we've already been told that by the Daishonin. What is it saying when he says, in like manner, the single character Myo contains within it all the teachings and all benefits which manifest in response to causes and conditions? What it's saying is that there is no benefit from chanting Daimoku that you could chant to the Gohonzon for that is not already, that benefit is already contained within the Gohonzon. Do you understand? Okay, there's nothing new that has to be created. But what's going to be the circumstance that thing that already exists, that's available for you to pluck it now and have it visible? Say, for instance, I pray for the perfect wife forever. Okay, but I had to pray for a while before that actually occurred. Okay, that's what he's talking about. In response to causes and conditions, I had to make the cause for that benefit that already exists to manifest. Do you understand? I didn't make a cause that made the benefits already there is the teaching. Myo contains all benefits and all teachings. So there is nothing outside of Myo. Are you getting what I'm trying? I know I'm getting like really revved up trying to make this clear, but are you understanding what I'm saying? Okay. All right. In like manner, the single character Myo contains within it all teachings and all benefits which manifest when you need them to, and you've done what's necessary to make that so. In response to causes and conditions. Okay? All the benefits of the Lotus Sutra without exception are included and inherent within the single character of Myo. So if that's the case, they're already there. Myoho, wonderful law or mystic law, is the Chinese translation of the Sanskrit word sadharma, offered by the Buddhist scholar and translator Kumarajiva. So again, this all takes the Kumarajiva turn. That's why I was talking about middle day of the law teachers when I made that distinction when we first read it. Sadharma, offered by the Buddhist scholar and translator Kumarajiva. The sad of Sadharma is said to have the meaning of perfect and complete. In other words, just as all possible treasures can be produced by a wish-granting jewel as small as a mustard seed, and just as plants and trees withered and bare in autumn and winter can send forth green leaves, beautiful flowers and fruit in response to the light and warmth of the spring and summer sun, every character of the Lotus Sutra contains all teachings and benefits and can revitalize all things, because there's nothing that has to be transformed in reality. Okay, nothing has to be created. It just has to be transformed. That's just the opposite of what I said. I meant nothing has to be created. You don't have to create the benefit. Okay, do you follow what I'm saying? It's already there. Yeah. All right. The sound of chanting Nam-myoho Renge-kyo has the power to activate the noble Buddha nature inherent in the life of the universe. That is why the moment we chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, the Buddhas and heavenly deities begin to extend us their protection, and everything and everyone become our ally, even our enemies. All right? Lastly, on page 27, Myo means to revive. This is the third Myo. Myo, wonderful or music, means to, pardon me, no, this is the third one. Myo, wonderful or mystic, means to revive, that is to return to life. Persons of the two vehicles, which we now know are voice hearers and cause awakened ones. Ikchantikas, persons of incorrigible disbelief, and women were described in the sutras that preceded the Lotus Sutra as having scorched and killed the seeds that would have allowed them to become Buddhas. But by holding fast to this single character, Myo, they can revive these scorched seeds of Buddhahood. Finally, the Daishonin writes, Myo means to revive, that is to return to life. This expresses the immeasurable and boundless benefit of the mystic law that has the power to revive all living beings and enable them to attain Buddhahood. In other words, none of us are lost. None of us are such pieces of shit we can't get it done. Okay? All of us can pull it together and become exactly what we were destined to be, and we validate what that destiny is, not anything else. All right? Buddhahood. It indicates that those who deemed unable to attain Buddhahood in the sutras before the Lotus Sutra, evil persons, women, and persons of the two vehicles, can indeed do so. The Daishonin elucidates the vast power of Myo through the examples of plants reviving in spring and summer, or a great physician who can transform poison into medicine. To revive means to restore or return to life. Here the Daishonin clearly states that the Lotus Sutra teaches the principle of universal enlightenment, a principle not taught in any other sutra. It reveals that evil persons, women, and others denied the possibility of enlightenment by the other sutras can in fact attain Buddhahood. This revelation opens the way to the attainment of Buddhahood by all living beings. Another way of looking at this is that though everyone else may have given up on someone, this is perfect. This is from my life. Another way of looking at this is that though everyone else may have given up on someone, the Lotus Sutra does not. By embracing the mystic law, all people, without exception, can attain the life state of Buddhahood. This brilliant light of hope can fundamentally transform the destiny of humankind. The revitalizing power of the mystic law is the energy source for transforming our lives from the depths of suffering into lives filled with joy, with the joy of value creation. With the joy of value creation. What's he talking about there? That's deep shit there, man. What's he talking about there? Because a lot of people hear joy and they think happiness. They think good times, going to the movies, or winning the lotto, or being in love. What is real joy? Propagating, attaining Buddhahood in your present form and propagating the law as you made the vow to do. Okay, and that's what the joy of value creation. The value creation is propagation of the law. Okay, doing your best, not being perfect, doing what you can do, striving though continuously, all right, to do your best. That's it. That's all you got to do. That's how you grow. Growth is childhood to adulthood. I mean, to wise old man. I mean, it's all contained within the same single life. Those who chant Daimoku, top of page 28, second column, those who chant Daimoku will never be deadlocked. Because if they chant Daimoku, they won't be deadlocked. In this copy of the writing of Nichiren Daishonin, Soka Gakkai founding president Tsunesaburo Makaguchi underlined the passage, Myo means to revive, that is to return to life. Mr. Toda also said, the power of the Gohonzon can be described only as Myo, unfathomable. That's why I said it's the region of darkness. It's beyond your comprehension. Benefit can absolutely be gained through faith in the Gohonzon. Faith in the Gohonzon ensures absolute victory. There's no way that your prayers will go unanswered. There's no way that your prayers will go unanswered if you don't give up. Use every spare moment to chant Daimoku. That's what President Toda said. Continuing page 28, last paragraph, second column. 3 years ago, directly after the March 2011 Tohoku earthquake and tsunami, Jim Garrison, former president of the John Dewey Society of the United States, sent a message of encouragement and support. In it, he said, "What comes immediately to my mind is that the Soka Gakkai is an organization that rose up powerfully from the destruction of war. The organization has embodied the principle that Myo means to revive, that is, to return to life in the real world." Referring to the three meanings of Myo, he said that he saw great hope for Tohoku's reconstruction efforts in the example of SGI members, because they were opening their full potential, reviving themselves, and pressing forward with new creativity. Transforming the depths of despair into a life brimming with vitality at the top of page 29, first column. That indeed is the human revolution that each individual SGI member is carrying out. The SGI has demonstrated that to the entire world the truth of the words Myo means to revive, that is, to return to life. No one can stop this joyous, dynamic, surging tide of the people. Our members around the world are leading players in dramas of positive transformation, of revitalization and happiness. The three meanings of Myo ultimately ensure that just as the morning sun dispels the darkness, the lives of those who consistently chant Nam-myoho Renge-kyo will never be deadlocked. Chanting is the foundation of Nichiren Buddhism. When we vigorously chant Daimoku, the sun rises in our hearts. Energy surges, compassion wells forth, joy radiates, and wisdom shines. All the Buddhas and heavenly deities, the positive forces of the universe, spring into action. Life becomes enjoyable. Nothing is more powerful than Daimoku. And I mean that nothing is more powerful than Daimoku. It's really all about Daimoku.
Yeah.
To the Gohonzon as much as possible. We have entered a new era. Second to last paragraph, first column, page 29. And then we're done. We have entered a new era of worldwide Kosen Rufu in which the chanting of Nam-myoho Renge-kyo can be heard on every continent on earth. The growth of our organization in Africa, the continent of hope in the 21st century, is especially dramatic. In September 2012, I encouraged 17 members of the Youth Division from Africa who were visiting the Seikyo Shimbun building in Tokyo for an SGI training course. They were all burning with pride as Bodhisattvas of the earth and brimming with determination to build a better future for humanity. I have heard with great delight and reassurance that since returning home, each of them has become a powerful driving force for Kosen Rufu. Today, the sound of Daimoku reverberates throughout the African continent, and a steady stream of new members walking the path of revitalization and hope is emerging. Youth is shining. The seeds of happiness of the mystic law are being sown. Waves of happiness are spreading, and at last, the century of Africa is dawning. Continuing on page 29, middle second column, the teaching that sets us on a course to victory. In another writing, the Daishonin says, of those who so much as one time pronounce the words Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, not one will fail to become a Buddha. Are you listening online? Listen to this. Let me say it again. The Daishonin said, of those who so much as one time pronounce the words Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, not one will fail to become a Buddha, according to Nichiren. Whenever you have a problem, sit in front of the Gohonzon and chant. Always advance based on Daimoku. Those who have that spirit will be victorious. I can attest to it. It's the only way to win. Otherwise, the devil of the sixth heaven will suck you down like quicksand. Faster than shit you won't even know you're under the surface. Mr. Toda declared, Nichiren Buddhism is the ultimate law of the universe. It is the treasure storehouse of wisdom. It is the art of attaining supreme happiness. It is the teaching that sets us on the course to victory. We who chant Nam-myoho Renge-kyo have nothing to fear. Let us chant resounding Daimoku again today, rouse vigorous life force, and courageously engage in dialogue to help others become happy. Everyone is waiting, everyone is searching for a great philosophy for realizing their human potential and revitalizing the fundamental power for happiness. The time has come for the Bodhisattvas of the earth, of the SGI, to set forth even more vibrantly into the world and cause great flowers of happiness and victory like white lotuses to bloom. And if it wasn't clear to everybody, I had a difficult physical day today with my blood pressure. I've taken so much medication. It wasn't an easy thing to get through that. So if I affected the presentation by not reading as I might have otherwise, I apologize. I hope you all have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.